Once, a man came to the Buddha filled with anger. He insulted Buddha with harsh words, hoping to provoke him. But Buddha remained calm, silent, and peaceful. When the man finished, Buddha looked at him gently and asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "It remains with the giver." Buddha smiled and said, "In the same way, I do not accept your anger. It remains with you." The man was stunned and realized the depth of Buddha's wisdom. This simple yet profound moment teaches us that anger is like fire. It burns the one who holds it. When we allow anger to live inside us, it destroys our peace, clarity, and happiness. Letting go of anger does not mean weakness. It means strength, because it takes great courage to stay calm in the face of hatred. Buddha showed that peace begins when we stop reacting and start understanding. By choosing compassion over revenge, silence over shouting, and love over hate, we free ourselves from the prison of anger. True strength lies not in fighting others, but in mastering ourselves. The moment we forgive and let go, we rise above the storm and discover the stillness within. When we carry anger in our hearts, we carry a burden that weighs down our soul. It clouds our judgment, poisons our relationships, and distances us from peace. Buddha taught that anger arises not because of others, but because of our attachment to how we think things should be. When someone speaks harshly or acts unjustly, our ego feels hurt, and the fire of resentment begins to grow. But Buddha's wisdom reminds us that anger cannot be fought with anger. It can only be dissolved through understanding. Imagine a lake on a windy day. Its surface is disturbed, and it reflects nothing clearly. But when the wind stops, the water becomes still, and it mirrors the sky perfectly. In the same way, when we calm the winds of anger in our hearts, we can see life with clarity and wisdom. Letting go does not mean that we forget the wrong done to us. It means we choose peace over pain. The moment we decide not to react in anger, we reclaim our power. Buddha said, "Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned." To let go of anger, we must first understand its roots. It often comes from fear, pride, or unmet expectations. When we start observing these emotions with mindfulness, they begin to lose their grip on us. The next time someone hurts you, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and remember that their words are a reflection of their own pain, not your worth. Compassion is the water that extinguishes the fire of anger. When you respond with kindness instead of revenge, you break the cycle of hatred that has trapped humanity for ages. The Buddha practiced this with every being he met, seeing not their flaws but their potential for awakening. By practicing forgiveness, you free not only the other person, but also yourself. The peace that comes from forgiveness is deeper than any satisfaction anger can give. Life is too short to waste on grudges. Every moment spent in anger is a moment stolen from your happiness. When you let go, you don't lose anything. You gain freedom, strength, and serenity. The world may test you again and again, but remember that peace is not something found outside, it is built within. Each time you choose calm over conflict, you walk the path of Buddha. The true victory is not in defeating others, but in conquering your own mind. When you release anger and embrace compassion, you become a light for others, a living example of the Buddha's timeless teaching. So let the storms of anger pass, and allow your heart to shine like the sun, warm, forgiving, and full of love. Letting go of anger is not a single act, but a continuous practice, a journey of self-mastery that requires patience, awareness, and courage. In our daily lives, situations will arise that challenge our patience. Someone cuts us off in traffic, a colleague criticizes us unfairly, or a loved one betrays our trust. In these moments, anger may rise quickly like a storm, threatening to sweep us away. But Buddha teaches that each of these moments is an opportunity to train the mind, to respond not with reaction, but with wisdom. Anger is a habit, and habits are formed over time, but they can also be undone over time. When you feel the first spark of irritation, pause. Observe it without judgment. Ask yourself why this anger has arisen and recognize that it is impermanent. Just as clouds pass across the sky without affecting the sun, anger too can pass if we allow it. By practicing mindfulness, we create a space between stimulus and reaction, a sacred pause where we can choose how to respond. In that space, we find freedom. Buddha's life is full of examples of this mastery. He faced rejection, criticism, and misunderstanding countless times, yet he never allowed anger to cloud his mind or dictate his actions. Instead, he met hostility with calmness, cruelty with compassion, and injustice with wisdom. This does not mean he was passive or weak. It means he understood the true nature of suffering and the destructive power of anger. By refusing to carry resentment, he remained free, clear, and strong. His life teaches us that anger is a chain we place on ourselves. Every time we cling to it, we tighten that chain. Every time we release it, we take a step closer to liberation. Practicing forgiveness is the most powerful tool in this journey. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrong behavior or pretending pain does not exist. It is about reclaiming your peace and refusing to let others control your inner world. Buddha reminds us that no one can harm us as much as our own uncontrolled emotions. When you forgive, you dissolve anger, and with it, suffering. Compassion, too, is essential. Seeing the pain, ignorance, or fear that drives others' harmful actions allows us to respond with empathy rather than retaliation. Every act of compassion weakens the hold of anger and strengthens the roots of peace within us. Letting go of anger also transforms our relationships and the world around us. A mind free of anger radiates calm, understanding, and love. Families become warmer, workplaces become more harmonious, and communities become kinder. The ripple effect of inner peace spreads far beyond the individual, touching countless lives. Buddha's teaching shows that true power lies not in domination or revenge, but in mastery of the self. By releasing anger, we step into the fullness of our humanity, embracing clarity, wisdom, and joy. Life becomes lighter, every moment brighter, and every interaction richer. In this practice, we discover that peace is not something we chase externally. It is a treasure cultivated within. The moment we let go of anger, we reclaim our freedom, our happiness, and our true self. Anger often disguises itself as righteousness, making us believe that holding on to resentment is justified. We tell ourselves that we are defending our honor, our rights, or our dignity, but Buddha teaches that this is an illusion. True strength does not come from asserting dominance or retaliating against perceived wrongs. It comes from cultivating a heart that remains unshaken, regardless of external circumstances. When we react in anger, we allow the world to control our inner state, giving our power away to the very situations or people who disturb us. But when we pause, reflect, and respond with awareness, we reclaim that power. Each moment of conscious choice becomes a small victory over the tyranny of our emotions. This is the essence of letting go, understanding that anger is a self-imposed prison, and forgiveness, mindfulness, and compassion are the keys that unlock it. Buddha also emphasized the impermanent nature of all things, including our emotions. Anger, like a storm, arises, rages, and eventually passes. By realizing this, we can observe our anger without being consumed by it. Instead of identifying with it, we watch it as a temporary visitor, acknowledging its presence while refusing to let it define us. Meditation and mindful breathing are tools that allow us to cultivate this awareness. When we breathe deeply and focus on the present moment, we remind ourselves that the world is far greater than the sparks of irritation that flare within us. Over time, this practice rewires the mind. Situations that once provoked fury begin to elicit calm observation. Words that once cut deeply now pass like wind through trees, leaving no permanent mark. By letting go of anger repeatedly, we train the mind to remain serene, resilient, and compassionate, regardless of circumstance. Moreover, letting go of anger is an act of self-love. Anger corrodes the mind, disturbs the heart, and even affects the body. It manifests as stress, sleeplessness, and tension, silently eroding our health and happiness. When we release anger, we create space for joy, clarity, and peace. We align ourselves with the natural flow of life rather than resisting it. Buddha teaches that life is not about controlling every external event, but about mastering the inner world. By transforming anger into understanding, resentment into forgiveness, and fear into compassion, we step onto the path of true liberation. Finally, letting go of anger transforms not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. A single calm mind has the power to inspire peace in others. Our words, actions, and presence become sources of reassurance, kindness, and wisdom. Families heal, communities flourish, and relationships deepen when anger is replaced by empathy. By following Buddha's guidance and releasing the heavy burden of anger, we contribute to a world where harmony prevails over conflict, understanding over blame, and love over hate. Each time we practice this, we live Buddha's timeless teaching. The greatest victory is not over others, but over our own destructive emotions. In letting go, we find freedom, happiness, and the eternal peace that resides within every human heart. As we reflect on Buddha's teachings, we begin to understand that letting go of anger is not a one-time act, but a lifelong journey, a commitment to inner freedom. Life will continue to present challenges, misunderstandings, and provocations, but each moment offers an opportunity to practice patience, mindfulness, and compassion. Buddha's life exemplifies this principle. He met criticism with calmness, cruelty with compassion, and injustice with wisdom. He reminds us that our reactions shape our reality far more than external events ever could. When we respond with anger, we create suffering not only for ourselves, but also for those around us. But when we choose understanding, we break the cycle of pain and open the door to healing, growth, and true happiness. Anger is a weight that chains the mind, but forgiveness is the key that liberates it. Forgiveness does not imply weakness, nor does it mean that we condone wrongdoing. It is a conscious choice to prioritize peace over conflict, clarity over confusion, and love over resentment. By forgiving, we release ourselves from the prison of bitterness and reclaim control over our own lives. Buddha teaches that clinging to anger is like drinking poison and expecting another person to suffer. It is a self-inflicted wound that robs us of joy, energy, and serenity. Every time we let go, we practice strength, the kind that does not dominate but nurtures, the kind that does not destroy but heals. The process of releasing anger also nurtures empathy. By seeing the suffering, ignorance, or fear behind the actions of others, we cultivate compassion. This compassion softens the heart, opens the mind, and transforms our perspective. It allows us to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, turning potential conflict into understanding and connection. The benefits of letting go extend beyond the personal sphere. A mind free from anger radiates calm, confidence, and clarity, influencing others in profound ways. Families, friendships, workplaces, and communities all thrive when individuals practice mindfulness, patience, and forgiveness. One calm, compassionate heart can inspire countless others to act similarly, creating ripples of peace that extend far beyond the individual. In this way, Buddha's teaching on anger is not merely a personal remedy, it is a guide for creating harmony in the world. By mastering ourselves, we become instruments of positive change, spreading peace and understanding through every interaction. Ultimately, letting go of anger is a path to true liberation. It is a journey from darkness to light, from chaos to serenity, from suffering to joy. Buddha's wisdom reminds us that anger is temporary and self-imposed, while peace is enduring and self-generated. When we practice mindfulness, forgiveness, and compassion, we discover the immense power of the human spirit to rise above pain and hatred. By choosing to release anger, we unlock the potential within ourselves to live fully, love deeply, and walk the world with a heart unburdened by resentment. In this liberation, we find not only freedom, but also the essence of what it means to live a life of purpose, clarity, and profound peace. Let us follow Buddha's path, let go of our anger, and allow our hearts to shine with the boundless light of compassion and understanding. As we continue to explore the essence of letting go of anger, it becomes clear that this practice is not only about controlling our reactions, but also about transforming our entire perspective on life. Anger, at its core, is a response to expectations. Expectations that reality conforms to our desires, that people behave as we believe they should, and that life unfolds according to our plans. Buddha taught that suffering arises from clinging, from attachment to these expectations, and anger is one of its most destructive manifestations. When we begin to accept life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be, the seeds of anger lose their power. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means recognizing what is beyond our control and investing our energy in what we can shape: our thoughts, our attitudes, and our choices. In every moment, we have the opportunity to respond with wisdom rather than impulse, to choose calm over chaos, and to act from clarity rather than from a clouded mind. This conscious approach to life gradually diminishes the grip of anger, allowing peace to flourish within us. Mindfulness is a critical tool in this journey. By observing our emotions without judgment, we learn to distinguish between fleeting reactions and enduring truths. When anger arises, instead of immediately acting on it, we can pause and examine it. Where does it come from? What need or expectation is unmet? How might I respond in a way that honors both myself and others? This mindful inquiry transforms anger from a destructive force into a teacher, revealing insights about ourselves, our relationships, and our priorities. Buddha's teachings encourage us to see anger as a signal, not a sentence, a chance to practice patience and compassion rather than a reason to lash out. Each time we choose reflection over reaction, we strengthen our capacity for emotional resilience and spiritual growth. Compassion is another cornerstone of releasing anger. When we understand that those who hurt us are often themselves suffering, acting out of fear, ignorance, or pain, we can approach them with empathy rather than retaliation. Compassion does not justify harmful actions, but it changes how we experience them, softening the harsh edges of resentment and opening the heart to forgiveness. Through compassion, we recognize the shared humanity in every being, the struggles, vulnerabilities, and desires that unite us all. In this recognition, anger begins to dissolve naturally, replaced by understanding, patience, and even love. Finally, letting go of anger transforms not just our internal state, but our entire life experience. Our relationships improve, our decisions become clearer, and our days are filled with less tension and more joy. The act of releasing anger is an act of empowerment, for we reclaim control over our own minds and hearts. As Buddha demonstrated through his life, freedom from anger is freedom from suffering. It is a path toward clarity, purpose, and serenity, a path that allows us to live fully, love deeply, and walk through the world with an unburdened, peaceful heart. By committing to this practice, we align ourselves with the timeless wisdom of Buddha, becoming beacons of calm and compassion in a world often clouded by conflict and strife. In the end, the journey of letting go of anger is a journey toward freedom, peace, and self-mastery. Life will always present challenges. People will continue to act in ways that frustrate or hurt us, and circumstances will often seem unfair. Yet Buddha teaches that our true power lies not in controlling the world around us, but in mastering the world within. When we release anger, we free ourselves from its invisible chains, allowing our hearts and minds to breathe, to grow, and to radiate love and understanding. Each moment of calm, each act of forgiveness, each choice to respond with compassion instead of rage, is a step toward liberation. The storms of life may rage, but when we cultivate inner peace, they cannot shake us. We become like a mountain, unmoved by the winds, grounded in wisdom and strength. Anger, once released, reveals the profound clarity and joy that were always within us. We begin to see life differently, not as a series of obstacles, offenses, or betrayals, but as opportunities for growth, learning, and awakening. Relationships deepen, not because others change, but because we change. Our hearts expand, not because life is easier, but because we no longer carry the heavy burden of resentment. Buddha reminds us that anger is a choice, and so is peace. By choosing peace, we choose freedom. By choosing understanding, we choose happiness. By choosing compassion, we choose enlightenment. Letting go of anger is not merely a spiritual exercise, it is a practical guide to living fully. It teaches us to respond rather than react, to observe rather than judge, and to love rather than fight. It transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for mindfulness, ordinary interactions into acts of kindness, and ordinary challenges into lessons in patience and resilience. As we practice this daily, we create a ripple effect, our calm presence influencing families, communities, and even the wider world. Peace is contagious, and by cultivating it within ourselves, we contribute to a more harmonious and compassionate society. Buddha's life stands as the ultimate example. He faced criticism, rejection, and hostility, yet he never allowed anger to rule him. He demonstrated that true strength comes not from defeating others, but from mastering oneself. His message is timeless. Do not let anger chain your mind, do not let resentment cloud your heart, and do not allow the actions of others to steal your inner peace. Each act of letting go is a declaration of freedom, a step closer to the boundless serenity that resides within every human being. So, let us take this teaching to heart. Let us release our anger, forgive freely, and embrace life with a calm and compassionate mind. Let us walk in the footsteps of Buddha, carrying light where there was darkness, peace where there was conflict, and love where there was hatred. The moment we choose to let go, we awaken, not just to a life without anger, but to a life of clarity, purpose, and profound joy. Remember, the true victory is not over others, but over our own destructive emotions. Let go, and in doing so, rise above, shine bright, and live fully.